Let's move to round 3. Aaron starts it off with Travis Etienne, Dalton, very boring, Josh Jacobs, Rashad White, Malik Nabers, Sam LaPorta. You took Isaiah Pacheco. Colin takes the first quarterback, Josh Allen. I took James Cook, which I'm kind of mixed on that pick. I'm curious what you think about that. And then DK Metcalf and DJ Moore finish up the round here. So, Andy, there are a couple of curious picks in this one. I know you loved your own pick of Isaiah Pacheco, but cool, good for you. You loved all of your own picks. Seemingly, that's what I'm getting from your notes here. Malik Nabers, I think, stands out as the first eye-popping pick here. Do you have any issue with Malik Nabers, who Kate took with the 4th pick of this round, compared to Marvin Harrison in round 2?
Yeah, I do. I think this is a little bit too close in proximity to Marvin. And you can, if the argument that you're going to make for Marvin Harrison, and this is not the argument that we made, but if you're making a strictly volume-based argument for Marvin Harrison, then I guess you should feel the same way about Malik Nabers. I think they're both great players. I don't see glaring weaknesses to Nabers' game. And they are both stepping into situations where they should be heavily targeted receivers. It's just one of them is a heavily targeted receiver with Kyler Murray at quarterback, and the other one is headed to a pretty messy QB situation in New York.
Yeah.
And I feel like there should be more than a round of difference between them. I don't think that you want to take Nabers as at the back end of the wide receiver 2s as a wide receiver 3. You're looking at him in round 4, round 5. I get it. This felt pretty aggressive to me, especially I don't know. Again, you start looking at the receivers who were on the board. It's Metcalf, it's DJ Moore, Devontae Adams is on the board. Ayuk, both Niners are on the board, right? It's a good group of receivers who were still there. I get it with the volume game with Malik Nabers, but am I going to get? I don't know. My own projecting for Malik Nabers does not make him a 3rd round pick. I will say that much.
I'm with you. I like Malik Nabers a lot, and I think he's going to get fed volume. But the way he's going to have to be fed volume in this offense with Daniel Jones and or Drew Lock is very different than the type of targets that Marvin Harrison's going to get. Harrison's going to get vertical targets on the outside. I think Malik Nabers is going to get a lot of some Mickey Mouse targets here just to get him going in the open field, which is good and bad, right? I think we could come away from Malik Nabers' rookie season thinking oh, that was really, quote, inefficient with the volume that he got, which could be no fault of his own, certainly. And I don't care what you think about Kyler Murray. He's a much better quarterback than either of these two guys here in New York. So I think the floor ceiling combination, that is a wide range for Malik Nabers. And I just don't think the ceiling necessarily is higher than DK Metcalf or higher than a DJ Moore this year, these guys, or some of the players you mentioned that go off in round 4. So I agree with you. That one stood out to me. If that's going to be the Malik Nabers price this year, I'm just not going to have a lot of Malik Nabers in drafts this season, which there's so many good receivers. I don't necessarily know that that's going to kill me. Your boy Sam LaPorta goes to Mo, the pick after the 5th pick in the 3rd round. Are you prepared to speak negatively about Sam LaPorta, Andy Behrens? Because I do think he's going to be an interesting conversation because clearly he's overtaken Travis Kelce as the industry consensus tight end 1, 27th player off the board in early best ball draft. Scott on the last episode was just kind of raising an eyebrow at that, Andy. Are you prepared to speak poorly of your boy Sam LaPorta, or should he be the 5th player off the board?
Yeah, I think everybody knows how I feel about that. I am not prepared to speak poorly of Sam LaPorta. If somebody wants to make the argument that maybe the touchdowns aren't going to be there to the same extent this year, I get it. It's just he was such a high volume guy last year. Like the targets were there, and not enough has changed in this receiving core to make me feel like volume is gonna veer away from LaPorta. So I think he's relatively safe. I think the biggest takeaway at tight end is that it's not a tier of one guy anymore. It's not just Travis Kelce, and then there's an empty tier, and then it's Mark Andrews and the rest of the tight ends, right? It's not like that anymore. And the fact that I don't know, if somebody took Kelce over LaPorta, I wouldn't bat an eye at that. That would, Travis Kelce has been a top 3 fantasy tight end for 8 straight seasons, and he's been the number 1 tight end in 6 of those seasons. So and he looked great in the postseason. So if you want to take him first, I totally get it. but the important thing is there just shouldn't be a lot of draft separation between LaPorta, between Kelsey, and then it's like guys like McBride and Andrews and Kincaid not long after. So it's just flatter and deeper at tight end, and that has forced Kelsey out of the first round. It's forced any tight end out of the first round, out of the second round. I'm actually like, if this is consistently the price on LaPorta, I literally had him in 90% of my leagues last year, and it's not going to be the case this year because for the most part, I'm targeting wide receivers and running backs in round 3. So I'll have him in all the dynasty leagues where I drafted him last year, but I'm probably not going to get him in redraft nearly as often.
Oh, that just brings a tear to your eye, doesn't it, folks, to hear Andy Behrens say that. I will say that if you are worried about Sam LaPorta, and I mean, listen, there's plenty of reason to think he might not give you back a third round ADP here. I would say that if Jameson Williams is going to take a step forward, right? Josh Reynolds leaves behind 64 targets, but it's not just like Jameson Williams gets to keep his 44 from last year or 42 from last year and then absorb Josh Reynolds. Like, that's not how offense works. He's probably going to have to take from somebody. I don't think he's taken anything from Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he might take a little bit of the 120 from Sam LaPorta, and then you really are kind of banking on some touchdown equity there to get you through the next few phases. Again, I don't think anything else is too notable from this round. I clicked James Cook here. I don't love clicking James Cook here, but I do think the Bills are going to be more committed to running the ball, Andy, and James Cook should be involved as a receiver, and he finished the year with some really strong games. So again, I took James Cook, and unlike you, I'm prepared to be self-critical here that I saying I didn't love this pick.
It's really only the first 3 rounds where I felt awesome about every choice I made. But I'm kind of on Isaiah Pacheco Island. I've got him much higher than I think the rest of the industry does. I think he's a plausible like end of first round sort of running back. Yeah. I think he should be like top 5, top 6. I think the offseason has gone very well for Isaiah Pacheco, and I don't know that we've fully adjusted to it. But I also think the offseason has gone pretty well for James Cook. I mean, I don't think he has an obvious rival in that backfield. He has the Josh Allen problem at the goal line. I didn't think he was like an end of tier guy here necessarily. So like, for whatever reason, I've only done a handful of drafts to this point, but and mostly mocks, which who cares? And I have not landed upon James Cook yet, but this does feel like the right range for him. And obviously his best games last year were week winners.
All right, let's move